Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brendan Plays. This is Total Extreme Wrestling for the All Elite Wrestling Save. Week 2 of July, we're building towards our next major event, which of course is Fight for the Fallen. Alright, new storylines have been all set. We are all booked and ready to go for this week's Dynamite. Let's quickly have a run through what we're going to be working with over the next few weeks. So we're still going to continue the Andrade Samoa Joe situation. We just added a few other pieces to it. For example, Jurassic Express. Private Party is still there. Christian Cage, probably going to build towards Cage and Joe being the major one. Jericho and Darby Allin, they'll go one-on-one. Keith Lee, Ethan Page, Brian Cage is involved as well. We've got the new trio of Flying High, which of course is the Top Flight team, and Matt Sydal with Butcher Blade and Angelico is the other team. Jade and Athena, Saraya is involved in that one as well, which probably should add her in to that, so we'll do that. Lucha Bros Proud and Powerful, they're now involved with FTR, so that'll be a three-way for the tag titles. The main event of our next pay-per-view will be Miro and Danielson, looking forward to that one. Middle of the card match, the Acclaimed and Cabanahausen, we're going to have that. Inspiration and Thunderstorm, I still feel like there's a rematch we could do there, so we'll explore that. And the Trios Championship, probably the hardest championship I have had to book so far here in the save. We will have our first champion's crown at the pay-per-view. Speaking of trios, well, we are trying. I mean, we've got the Undisputed Elite, the Elite, the Pinnacle, Blackpool Combat Club. That's a pretty good top four. Well, now, let's think about this. The Undisputed Elite. Well, Bobby Fish is gone. So after Fight for the Fallen, we're getting rid of him. He's done. So we won't have them. So now we're down to 3 main event level teams. Next notch down, you got Christian, Andrade, Lance Archer, and Private Party. Any one of those combinations, that works pretty well. So that's fine. House of Black. Well, when are they coming back? Are they coming back? So now we lose another one of our top teams. Death Triangle, definitely good, and they'll be one of our top teams. I think we'll look to elevate them to the main event level. Christian Coalition definitely could be there if we had our best 3 of Christian, Andrade, and Archer involved. But I don't know if we're going to do that considering Andrade is the Atlantic champion. Middle of the card, you got Best Friends, Natural Pros. Yeah, Natural Pros probably will go down to the lower card. They're just not very good. So what we have to do is kind of establish probably 2 of our lower card teams and move them up the card. So we've got Dark Order. Yeah, I just don't care about the Dark Order, so I don't know if it'll be them. The Wingmen, it won't be them. 2.0 I like. I think they're entertaining. I'm not really crash hot on Denny Garcia, unlike Tony Khan. He loves him. I don't really care for him. But I like Lee and Parker. I think they're pretty entertaining. So 2.0 as a team, I think could definitely move up the card. Butcher, Blade, and Angelico, well, we've been giving Butcher and Blade a bit of a push. So it's very possible that they could be one of those teams that get moved up. And Flying High, I definitely think they have the potential. Top Flight and Matt Sydal, that's a good, solid trio. So the goal, I guess, for the Trios Championship is, whilst we're trading water with the main event level stuff, probably Blackpool Combat Club, their most logical next feud would probably be against Death Triangle or maybe the Christian Coalition. So that'll be good for a while. We've got that sorted. Well, whilst we're doing that, we need to elevate one of these other teams. Absolutely. It's a must. I wouldn't mind having the Acclaimed find a partner and kind of put them in the mix that way, because they're not really going to be the tag title mix. That way we could have an excuse to kind of really push them. So that might be an idea as well. Yeah. So we're going to have to look to experiment. We're going to have to look to create some new trios and really try something different. Of course, the other team that we're going to add that will be towards the bottom tier of the card will be the Guns. So we're going to put the Gun family in. We're going to add them as a trio, and Colton, Austin, and Billy Gunn. That'll be a solid middle of the card team. I like the Guns as well. I think they're pretty good. So I think they could definitely be a team that should be in the mid card. And at least that'll be a way where we can use Billy Gunn. He's got a bit of popularity, so it'll be enough to kind of get the Guns on TV. Maybe we can get them up the card and they can join the middle of the card teams there as a trio. So that's something we're doing and going to look to explore in the next few weeks as well. So that's some of the plans. I mean, the trios, it's so hard. It is, I don't know, I didn't think it'd be this bad, but I guess losing House of Black, losing the Elite, Losing the Undisputed Elite, you've got so many of your top teams now gone, makes things really difficult. So it's going to be a good challenge, that we're going to have to try and overcome. And as I said, we're trying to create new teams. Team Taz, we could definitely add another one to them. I'm thinking of adding Josh Woods to Team Taz. I know Tony Nese and Josh Woods are teaming up in real life, so I'm thinking we might just throw Josh Woods up to the main roster, put them in Team Taz. Then we got a trio again, and that could be another solid middle card trio, especially Ricky Starks. He hasn't got a lot happening right now, now that he's not in the TNT Championship sort of race. So that might be something that Ricky Starks could get involved in, and at least I think he could have some good rivalries there with Best Friends and maybe the Guns and a few other teams. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at potentially doing over the next little bit. But that's the trios. Now let's focus on Dynamite. So let's jump into Dynamite this week. Now, we talked about last episode how we need to have really good shows to maintain the quality. Well, I'm taking a big risk on this show by having our main event of being Brian Cage and Keith Lee for the TNT title. I don't know if that'll be good enough. I don't think it will be. But I'm really trusting Keith Lee to carry Brian Cage to hopefully a high 70s rated match. So we'll see. But anyways, on the pre-show, we try out the team of Tony Nese and Josh Woods. So Nese 59, Josh Woods 43. Nothing wrong with that, right? That's pretty good. So I think we might do that. We might bring up Josh Woods, throw him in to Team Taz, expand Team Taz again, a new reincarnation of it. Ricky Starks will be the top star of the group. Tony Nese, Josh Woods, kind of the fodder. It could work. Dark Order, they were okay. 47-43 as well for a 53 rated match. Ruby Soho beats Tonya Capes. Of course, she's a created wrestler, not a real person, as far as I know. And they actually had great chemistry, so they had a 47 rated match. Just wanted to give Ruby Soho a win. We opened up the show this week with the Chris Jericho promo. He is furious at Darby Allin for ruining his special return to Canada last week on Rampage. So last week, Darby Allin got a shock win over Chris Jericho. Jericho with a big promo here, so we kind of continue that rivalry. Well, this is going to have to be one of our better singles programs. I mean, apart from Danielson and Miro, from the top of my head, this is probably the next, biggest singles, rivalry we've got. So it's a little bit different. Jericho hasn't been doing a lot lately, so it's good to get him involved. I think one thing I need to do more of is have our main event level guys work with some of the mid-card guys. That's why I'm thinking, MJF is available at the moment, so is Adam Page. Maybe giving them rivalries with middle card guys to kind of boost them up might not be a bad idea. So that's something we're thinking about. But we're going to do that at least with Jericho and Darby here. Bobby Fish and Eddie Kingston had a good match, 73 rated, about 15 minutes long. Eddie Kingston grabs the win. So Fish is on his way out, so I wanted to give Kingston a win over Fish to try and help Eddie Kingston out. But Eddie Kingston performing at 72 is really, really good. I think I had this as a wild brawl, which is his obviously style of match, being a brawl. But very good signs for Eddie Kingston going forward. Eddie Kingston's a guy that, we just haven't got the popularity with. I'd love to do more with him, but he's just lacking that popularity. So we're still trying to have him kind of gain that popularity by association with, the Blackpool Combat Club. So, it's pivotal that we try and get him to 60, 70 popularity ASAP, because that would really help our, the balance of our roster out. Miro makes a promise to his god to redeem Danielson and win the title for him, so 78 rated for that one. Ken Anderson invented a new catchphrase. Well, that's good. That will help his ability on the mic, and he's got a go-to line. Well, that's fantastic, because Anderson, not only is he working with Miro, he's also working with Morrissey, so that will help both candidates out. And so far, so good from Anderson. He's lacking popularity, but once we get him some more, he's really, I think going to be a massive asset for the team. Speaking of Morrissey, he defeats Jake Hager in a 39 rated match. So Jake Hager, we're going to get rid of him, so we're going to have him lose to some guys coming through, Morrissey being one. Not a great match, so I don't know how much it'll help Morrissey. Fingers crossed he gains a couple of points out of it. Athena and Saraya backstage as Saraya offers to be in Athena's corner in her match against Jade. So Athena getting some support there by Saraya. The Acclaim, they have a confrontation in the backstage locker room with Cabanahausen, so we kind of start that rivalry. Well, Max Caster and Stokely Hathaway have good chemistry with one another, so that's really positive as well. So And Stokely helped Bowens as well. So I was just kind of thinking, well, is it time to maybe get rid of the Acclaimed and Jade in that portfolio? Well, I don't know. I mean, even if they're just loosely associated, and it's at least helping the Acclaimed, they're kind of getting that managerial support that they might need, especially now because they don't have a lot of popularity. So yeah, it's not a bad pairing. So I think we might stick with it for a little bit longer at least. Private Party, they had a match against Jurassic Express. 73 rated, really good. Jungle Boy, 78. Isaiah Cassidy, 70. Really, really good stuff. Mark went off his game, so he could have done better as well. Yeah, nice match. Jurassic Express, 18-minute match, picking up the win. Good, solid match to continue that Joe Andrade sort of situation. Post-match, Private Party, they hold off Jurassic Express. Well, we had Samoa Joe in commentary for that match, the tag match, by the way. Jurassic Express have been held off by Private Party, while Christian, he comes out and cheap shots Samoa Joe on commentary. So Archer and Andrade, they pin down Samoa Joe. Christian gets a couple of cheap shots in. So the numbers game meaning too much there for Joe. 72 for that one. Very good. And Page gets a short promo talking about how he missed out on becoming the number one contender, 73. So I just wanted to get him on the show. Not sure where we go next with Adam Page. As I said, he could maybe work with the middle of the card guy. Maybe that's the way to go. Tony Storm and Jessie McKay, 68 rated match, eye candy. As these two, what a great match. Jessie McKay gets the win, 9 minutes, and she gets the quick surprise roll up for the win, 68 rated. Jessie McKay, 72, so she's one of the best at the eye candies, as we know. Hey, good match. The women's matches are certainly improving, even if it is eye candy. But even outside of the eye candy, it is improving because their popularities are improving that little bit more. So, the women's division, I feel like, is in a fairly okay spot. I just think we're lacking opponents for Jade. But apart from that, the other women are certainly gaining popularity. Billy Gunn negotiates with Sting to bring back the Guns to AEW from Ring of Honor. 48 rated. So Billy Gunn, talks to Sting saying, hey, look, the Trios Championship, I'd love one more chance to get in there, wrestle with my sons. Would love to be Trios Champions. I feel like we're good enough. They've learned plenty in Ring of Honor. I feel like they're ready to come back. So 48 rated for that one. So, yeah, Sting decides, okay, let's bring them back. 48. Next up, Keith Lee, Swerve, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky. Bit of a backstage little, confrontation as Ethan Page taunts Keith Lee ahead of his match with Brian Cage. So, Ethan Page basically said, look, Keith, there is no way you're going to beat the Machine, Brian Cage. And if you do, well, I'm going to be ready for you after that. So 60 rated for that one. The Hardys, they get a rare match. Brought them back here for a match against the Lucha Bros. Now, normally this would be a pay-per-view, unbelievable, big tag title match, something like that. Well, my position on the Hardys is really, really soured. I'm almost ready to have them just lose to everyone and then retire them. Like, honestly, I'm not far off. I just don't. For me, I'm done with them. I don't care. So the Lucha Bros getting a win here might help their popularity, but also it's a good win to help progress their momentum in their tag title quest. So it's a good win for the Lucha Bros. Ray Phoenix, 85, Penta, 81, Jeff Hardy, 65, Matt Hardy, 55. Notice the difference? Jeff has the same popularity as Penta and Ray, by the way. So, big, big difference. Good match, 75. Can't complain with that, though. We had a hype video for the Butcher, the Blade, and Angelico. So, Angelico actually suffered an injury, so he's actually going to be out for about a month. So that kind of ruins our plans, I know, already. Brand new trio and Angelico's gone, so not that we really care about him too much, but, it does dampen our plans just for a little bit on that team. So we did a little hype video for them just to keep them on the show and just kind of keep building them. And our main event was Brian Cage and Keith Lee, TNT title on the line, 72 rated match. Babyface versus Babyface, I feel like was the reason why this match wasn't as good as it could have been, because Brian Cage was really good, 74. Keith Lee, 83, did his job fantastically well as always. So there was enough there, but it just didn't get the rating, I guess. Ethan Page, he tried to interfere and cost Keith Lee the match, but he actually cost Brian Cage the match. So we might do a Brian Cage, Ethan Page match just to advance that and kind of keep Brian Cage in the mix for the time being. 72. So Brian Cage is one of those rare sort of free agents on our roster, if you will, because he's not in any stable, he's not in any tag team, he's just on his own. There's not many of them in AEW, but Brian Cage is one of them, so we can kind of move him around as we need. So 72 for our main event was good. Post-match, Brian Cage, he attacks Ethan Page and hits him with his finisher. So he gets a bit of revenge. 73 for that one. I don't know how this is going to go. We didn't have any amazing matches. I don't think we're going to get the 77 mark that we need. Wow, we actually did. We got 79. Wow. That is that's really lucky. Really lucky. I think the Jericho promo really helped. We didn't have Danielson on the show, so we're going to save Danielson, I think, for Rampage to try and make sure Rampage is good. But we got very lucky. No amazing matches, but hey, a title match in the main event. You know, you're going to have the AEW TNT title. They're going to make it feel special. You put it in the main event, as we did. It was good. Apparently good enough to get us to 79. Now on to this week's edition of Dark, and let's jump into it with the opening segment. Team Taz welcome Josh Woods to the group. Yeah, look, I think this is going to be a good addition. I think this is going to be a way to reignite Team Taz. I think you either need to expand the group or forget about it. Let Starks go out on his own. Probably wouldn't be a bad thing anyways, but we need another trio. We need another group. That's the state that we're in. We need more teams, more trios, just to keep the variety. And I think Team Taz, whilst I don't think they'd ever win the Trios Championship, I do think they could be a bit of a factor and have a good mid-card feud with maybe the Best Friends, for example. So 50 rated for the introduction of Woods. And I think Josh Woods, he's okay. I think he definitely could be something in the future. I'm not sure if he could go to be like an upper mid or mid card sort of player, but I think there could be something there. So maybe it's worth trying to, see what we can get out of him here in Team Taz. Speaking of Team Taz, let's get their first trios match underway. We've got Starks, Woods, and Nese taking on Wheeler Yuta and the Varsity Blondes. 10-minute match. Josh Woods gets the win over Wheeler Yuta. Yeah, I wanted to see what they could do. Tony Nese 56, Woods 40, Ricky Starks 58. Not bad, it's certainly not great, but it's not too bad. We can certainly work with that. Best on the other team was Pillman Jr., 49. Really good, actually. Ricky Starks was really off his game. Yeah, I was wondering why his performances were so low. That will explain it anyways. So, yeah, look, 49. I don't think Ricky Starks was too thrilled to be on Dark and competing in a trios match, but here he is. Better than not being on the show at all, I guess. Cabana Housing pranked the Acclaimed, who were furious. 41 for that one, just advancing that story. Anna Jay and Kiera Hogan had a 61 rated match. Believe it was an eye candy. So yeah, not a bad match at all. 61. Anna Jay actually has 47-48 popularity. It is ridiculous how much popularity she's got, which is why I wanted to see what she could do as a single, which was pretty good. 63. It was eye candy, but still pretty good. So yeah, might be something there. Anna Jay could actually be a potential women's champion, which is crazy to believe or say, but she hasn't got the ring skills, but she's certainly got enough popularity to make it happen. Madison Rayne, who of course is the GM of the women's division, so she sort of controls that. She gives a friendly warning to Saraya that she is the boss around here. So Saraya's kind of saying, hey, I'm going to be in your corner for this match. I'm going to help you with this. I'm here to do this. Madison Rayne's just trying to put it back in her place. Like, hey, you have a lot of plans, a lot of ambition, but I run things around here. 60 rated for that one. So my long-term idea for the women's division is to eventually build to Divinity and Jade Cargill teaming up to take on a Saraya-led team. Maybe Athena, Ruby Soho, Chris Statlander, something like that, and have a big 4-on-4, 5-on-5 sort of match. The Blade, the Butcher, and Angelico have a promo for 40. So yeah, not a bad promo actually from these guys. We're trying to push them a little bit. We're trying to make it happen, and baby steps, but so far there's potential there. Shining Force and Stretching Crew had a 45 rated match. Not enough popularity from either team here to really make this match good, but still 45 is really solid. I think if these two teams had a bit of popularity, so the fans actually cared, this would be a solid 50 to 60 rated match. Yuka Sakazaki's gimmick is getting stale, so we'll have to try and freshen her gimmick up. Shining Force got the win. The Gun Club, the Gun Family is how we're going to kind of refer to them as. They signed their new AEW contracts. So Billy Gunn, who had retired, has decided to come out of retirement. He signed a new deal, which he technically actually just did. And Colton and Austin Gunn signed a new AEW contract because their contract was Ring of Honor. Sting was there to try and elevate the segment, 46 rated. So good stuff. I think we'll give the Gunn family a really big push. I think it's time we try and make the Guns something. In our game, their stats won't be great. In real life, I think they're pretty good workers. So they're still pretty green at times, but I think there's a lot of potential there. So I feel like we should really try and make this team good. Now, we need a lot of gimmick changes. So Billy Gunn's going to change his gimmick from a degenerate to daddy ass, which was adequate. Okay, I was hoping to do a little bit more than that. So he'll be penalized for being used in lengthy matches. Well, it's probably a good thing. And he'll lose popularity more than usual if he takes a loss, so that's not good. Colton Gunn, he's got a bad gimmick as well, and his new gimmick of an ass boy is being rated as very good. So wins and losses will help his popularity more than usual, which is probably good if we give him a few wins. That's a good start. I don't know. I think we have to change Austin Gunn's gimmick too, so I don't know why we didn't get the option, but maybe next time. Sammy Guevara is here on Dark. He has a match with Denny Garcia for 68. Not enough psychology here in this one, but Sammy Guevara 86, Denny Garcia 48. So I'm thinking of turning Sammy Guevara heel. I think Sammy Guevara, he's just so unlikable at the moment. When we made him a babyface, the fans were kind of really enjoying. I was enjoying Sammy Guevara in real life, but now I just couldn't care for the guy. He gets booed out of the building wherever he goes. So I think it's only fitting that we sort of make that change here. 68. I suppose we could have Time Mello join up with Sammy Guevara if we do turn him heel and kind of make that, some sort of pairing, and at least have maybe Ty and Anna Jay could get a little bit more popularity out of just being associated with Sammy. The problem with Sammy Guevara is he just can't cut a promo. He is dreadful on the mic, so it's hard to really make him a solo big single star, but we could try. 68 anyway, so he had a good match. He can always have a good match, we know that. Divinity, they've got a promo about their potential challenges, of course, Thunderstorm and the Inspiration. 49 for that one. Tony Schiavone was there to try and get across and try to, salvage this segment because, we did have Marina Shafir cutting a promo here, which, you don't know Marina, but she can't really talk. So 49 for that one. Next up, MJF, a rare dark appearance for MJF, and even FTR, so the Pinnacle are here, and they're hyping up Wardlow. So we're going to have Wardlow in the main event. My long-term plan is to get Wardlow and Keith Lee one-on-one for the TNT title. That's my goal. I want to get to that point. Wardlow probably will win the championship, so we won't have that match in the near future, because I still like Keith Lee as a singles champion. I think he's doing a great job. I want to keep the belt on him. But whilst we're doing that, in the background, I'm thinking, okay, let's build Wardlow up. Let's get him 2-3 months of wins under his belt before we get to Keith Lee. So 81 for that one. And he has a match with Frank Kazarian. It's a 63 rated. Wardlow performed at 72, Kazarian 36. So that's a really bad performance from Kazarian, but good from Wardlow. Now, we did try have this as a wild brawl. I thought that might help both guys, but it turns out it probably only helped Wardlow. Certainly didn't help Kazarian, who is not doing well. The entire Natural Pros group, that has been an absolute bust, hasn't it? I really thought 3 veterans coming together, forming a trio, would certainly be okay at least, but it's been bad. And even Kazarian as a singles now is bad. 63 for the match, 67 for the show, and having MJF on the card certainly helps boost it up that little bit. Now on to this week's edition of Rampage. The Blackpool Combat Club will go face to face with the Undisputed Elite, 88 rated. So Claudio unavailable for this show, so we had Bryan Danielson. He came in to make sure the numbers were even, 3-on-3, just in case any shenanigans went down. So 88, good back and forth promo here. Obviously we had Miro mentioned as well, Adam Cole mentioning Danielson, why the hell are you here? Don't you have a match with Miro to plan for? Etc, etc. So that advanced that storyline. So 2 storylines, both getting some popularity, so both getting some heat rather. Hopefully some popularity being gained from the likes of Fish, Kingston, Riley, guys that have got a little bit less popularity because there's a solid 88 rated segment. Next up, Penta and Dax Harwood had a 75 rated match. Penta 74, just slightly outperforming Dax with 73. Good, strong, solid match here. Ortiz got himself involved, costing Penta the match to allow Dax to get the win. So really kind of just having all 3 teams against each other, singles, tag matches, whatever, just in some sort of capacity, just to really build this rivalry. Because the thing is, all 3 teams, promos probably aren't their strength. Maybe, FTR, I think they're good promos, but in the game, in terms of their mic skills, it's a little bit low. And even Proud and Powerful, I feel like they could cut some good promos too, but obviously the Lucha Bros, their best asset is in the ring. So if we're going to advance the storyline to its fullest capacity for their sake, definitely in the ring is the way to go. So that's why I've done this. 75 for the match is really solid. Darby Allin had a 71 rated match with Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears actually did pretty good, 58. I'm surprised by that. So a match to build up Darby Allin to follow up his big win from Chris Jericho last week on Rampage. So I thought it'd be almost criminal not to have him here appear as some capacity with another big win. Christian Cage here with a promo. He warns Samoa Joe not to show up to Dynamite or another beating will be coming his way. 65 for the promo. I had Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy talking as well as Lance Archer, so I wanted to get the entire team involved with this promo. I knew that it would probably bring the quality down, but we have to make these sacrifices because if we don't, how are we going to build a private party? How are we going to get them any popularity if they're not actually involved in the segment? So we're going to have to make these small sacrifices to try to build these other guys up. So 65 for that one. We had a hype video for Miro and Danielson, 72, so just kind of a bit of a recap what's been going on in that situation. And the main event was a good one. Jon Moxley, Kyle O'Reilly, 80 rated match. Moxley only performing at 72, that's pretty low. Kyle O'Reilly outperformed him, 75. Wow, there you go. So big main event match to involve the Undisputed Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. Good match, 80. Bobby Fish accidentally cost O'Reilly the match and allowing Moxley to get the win. So I wanted to give Moxley a win without O'Reilly going down clean, and we've done that there. So 80 rated. Yeah, good overall match, but what's going on with Mox? Low morale and holding back, so we might have to take a look at morale for Mox and try and improve it. We did get a 77 rated show, so we just got there. Just. Alright, now the fallout from our shows this week in New Japan news. Apparently the Bullet Club is no more. They've been finally disbanded. I mean, God, it took them long enough, but there you go. The Bullet Club's no more. Elsewhere, we've decided to try and beef up Ring of Honor a little bit. So we've decided to sign a few different guys like the Tates, the Embassy guys, because we took Josh Woods. We've taken the Gun Club away, so we've stolen a few of their names, and we needed to kind of replace them, so we've looked at a few different people that are in Ring of Honor, apparently, in real life. Who even knows who's in Ring of Honor? I don't know. And we've brought those guys into Ring of Honor areas to try and boost up that brand, because we still want to build it, even though, our focus is obviously, the main roster, but still. This week we actually had our best Dynamite rating again, so we're improving on last week's rating just 1.55 last week, 1.56 this week, so slight improvement. Rampage is doing 1.1 million viewers as well, which is insane. That's a big Rampage number, actually. I mean, that is really, really big. Yeah, so let's take a look at this rating. 1.45, that is easily our best Rampage number. The previous best is 1.3. What is going on? That is a huge number. Did we get a really big overseas viewership? I mean, maybe. TBS 673,000. That's probably their usual. Because we did do a couple of new TV deals, but nothing amazing. But nothing that would really spike that sort of increase. But hey, it's good news nonetheless. We're building, the TV ratings, which is important. Now, speaking of building ratings, our popularity ratings, we need to start building some of these up ASAP. And we've done that a little bit in some cases. Obviously, we sacrificed Jake Hager on this week's Dynamite. I was actually going to have Jake Hager lose again to Billy Gunn this week, but on Rampage, but we just didn't have the time. So Morrissey got that big win over him. Now Morrissey has 49 popularity. That was up from 44. So that's a 5-point boost. Surely Morrissey can deliver with that. And now Morrissey's actually, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion, and he's in Impact as well. He's everywhere. And he's working with Enzo in those two companies as tag teams. So he's doing a lot of tag team work, trying to be a solo in AEW. I don't think it's going to get over, but hey, it's worth a shot. Josh Woods, he comes into AEW with not a lot of popularity, 21, but in the Tri-State 37, so we want to really use him well. If we got thinking about a big match, definitely the Tri-State, if we can, would be ideal for him. Not that I'm going to book a show around Josh Woods, to be fair, but something to keep in the back of our minds if we ever go back there, to make sure that he gets used. That's probably the main sort of things that's happening. Obviously, Jake Hager's down to 49 pops, so Jake Hager can still take a couple of L's before he's gone. So he's only got, a few weeks left, 16 days. So before his contract is expired. So good, that's good news for us. We want to finally get rid of him. He was on 25 grand nearly a month. That is big money for Jake Hager. 25 grand a month, that is a waste of money, So that's a contract that will certainly be welcomed to be gone. I'll be happy to get rid of that. Some other things, Ricky Starks, 60 popularity now for Ricky. So he's had a big couple of months, up to 60. That's pretty big. And now, God, I feel like we've got to do something with Ricky, something substantial. The Guns, they come back in with not a lot of popularity. They gained a little bit in Ring of Honor. Austin's got 26, 28, and Colton 24. So nothing too major. Hopefully we can get a bit of popularity to them. Maybe they beat some sort of tag team, I'm not sure who yet, to gain some. At least a trio, maybe involve Billy, get him a bit of popularity too. So it definitely has to happen. We've got to try and push those guys because we are missing a good chunk of our talent roster. So it's important that, we start building the rest of the roster. So that's where we're at right now. Fight for the Fallen, 2 weeks away. Our storylines, look, I'm not confident. I feel like Miro and Danielson will be good. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be good. I think the trios match between Blackpool Combat Club and the Undisputed Elite should be solid. I'm confident that it'll be solid. Eddie Kingston's the worry, but he's gaining pop. He's a 55, 56, so he's certainly on his way there. Speaking of other guys, Mark Quinn, just quickly, Mark Quinn, the Private Party, up to 43. So he's gained nearly three or so points since joining up with Christian Cage. So that's really good. So now they're all of a sudden they're out of the 30s, which is basically a mark of death, being in the 30s. So Isaiah, he's up 42 as well. So he's out of the 30s. That's massive. Now we can start probably using them in a bit more of a prominent role as well. So we've made a bit of progress on a few different teams. Speaking of, Private Party, definitely want to get them involved. Maybe a trios match for the Christian Cage and Private Party versus Jurassic Express and Samoa Joe. I think that could be a solid trios match. Keith Lee, Ethan Page, just probably a mediocre filler match for Keith Lee until we do something more. We have to put the brakes on Flying High, Butcher and Blade, that rivalry. Jade and Athena, 65. Lucha Bros, Proud and Powerful. I feel like we can do better with that. Just 70 at the moment. Miro and Danielson's got 86. Acclaim, that's not going to be in the pay-per-view. Inspiration, Thunderstorm, probably not in the pay-per-view. So the trios, so we're going to have to really rely on Darby Allin, the trios match, and Miro and Danielson to make Fight for the Fallen good. But I feel like this could be honestly, on paper, I'll be real, this is shaping up to be our worst pay-per-view ever. I mean, we don't have MJF in a match, or Adam Page, or Sammy Guevara, or even Park. So it is our own fault in a way. There are some guys that we could definitely use to help make this pay-per-view better. So maybe we might have to hotshot a rivalry there. I'm thinking as well of, we brought in Bandito, so we had him come in on a loan. So he's got 50 pop. I feel like Bandito could really deliver a high quality match. Maybe he and Park could have a solid match on the pay-per-view, just as a way to debut Bandito and get him a solid win. Not a win, but just a solid outing to put him over. And maybe we have a quick rivalry with him and Andrade for the All-Atlantic Championship. I feel like that would be fun. I think that could be worth doing. So a few different ideas there. We have a lot of work to do to get AEW to where we need it to be, and that is at 77 popularity in 5 different regions. We are close. I feel like we're hanging in there. We're only just getting enough quality, but I feel like we're close, and hopefully the next few episodes we'll get there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on it and subscribe. More episodes of TW coming your way very soon.